Okay. First of all, good evening. We are starting today a new Torah, new teaching. This teaching is tonight we're repeating sort of like what we learned last night on Zoom, because I'm thinking of Wednesday night going to the Seder we had before. So Torah 62 is a Torah that all the people in Breslov, not all of you, but it's a general Torah. Everybody learns it because, like, it was decided that everybody in Breslov will learn the Torah, the same Torah, at the same time, for a period of time. During the time to learn the Torah, they dig into it, they learn the Iyun, all kinds of inyonim in that particular Torah. Because something which is done, that a lot of people do simultaneously, has more koyach, it has more ishpa. So, as people usually think that it's the other way around, it's like something that only I do, it's like more special, but the something that everybody does, according to tzitzis, pulling on film. I mean, everybody does that. Right? So what's the big deal? I don't feel special. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Whenever it is that you do something that a lot of people do at the same time, it's sort of like it's exponential, becomes exponentially bigger the more people there are. So that's Torah's manis. The Torah has to do with that particular point in time. So this is the Torah which it says B'Shem Rabbeinu Zchon Livrocha, which starts by saying that it was through the eating of Am Yisrael that brings about a unification of Kucha Brichu Shchinte. Kucha Brichu, that's obviously the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Shchinte is also Kodesh Baruch Hu. So what's what? What is this and what is that? What's the difference? What do you mean that it becomes one? Well, the answer is that the Kodesh Baruch Hu is obviously much, much bigger than this world can ever sustain. We cannot see the greatness of Kodesh Baruch Hu, and not only that, but Kodesh Baruch Hu created this world so that his omnipresence will be hidden. Otherwise, we won't be able to have choice, not able to have free choice. It'll be obvious. I mean, like saying something, don't put your head into a fire. Well, why not? It's like, it's like duh. So the Shechina means that's the expression of a Kodesh Baruch Hu's presence in this world. Now, this is something which is which grows with the mitzvahs, with the Torah, and the more Torahs you do mitzvahs they do, that enlarges the Shekhinah. What it does is it enables the Shekhinah to express the greatness of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. The undeniability of a Kodesh Baruch Hu becomes a more open thing. Now, the Shekhinah in a Kodesh Baruch Hu are dependent on the mitzvahs and Torah that people do in this world. Now, when the Kodesh Baruch Hu and the Shekhinah become one, means that the presence of Kodesh Baruch Hu is evident to everybody in this world. And obviously, when we're saying Yichud Kusha B'Chu Shchintei, the unification of Kodesh Baruch Hu and the Shechina, we're talking about, ultimately and completely, we're talking about something that will happen when Mashiach will come. But it's a process that becomes, it increases and adds on more and more and more as we go along. With the avodah of Am Yisrael, the way that we serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we are building it. We're building the stature of the Shekhinah, slowly by slowly, bit by bit, until B'ezrat Hashem, the time Mashiach will come. I'll put it up completely, like it used to be in the Mishkan. In the Mishkan, it used to be that everybody, all the people each one gave his little piece. Some gave gold, some gave silver, some gave, each one, brought whatever donation they had, they brought it. And Moshe Rabbeinu is the one that put the Mishkan together. Same thing now, we are all, with our Torah and mitzvahs, are bringing truma and tzedakah to the Mishkan, as it were, to Yichud Kusha B'Chu. We're creating, a mini Yichud Kusha B'Chu. Like some doing it, some silver, some gold, some copper, some wood. All according to the sanctity of the avodah that we are able to put in. Some are big, some are small. So Rabbeinu says that you should know that a person can, I say should, reach a level of, in his kedusha, in his avodah, that the Yichud Kusha B'Chu Shchintei, the unification, Kodesh Baruch Hu and the Shechina, will occur when that person eats. Just sits down to eat, and as he's eating, he is bringing about, he's causing Kodesh Baruch Hu and the Shechina become one, and the presence of Kodesh Baruch Hu to be expressed and open in this world. And Rabbeinu says here in the story how you actually do it. So Rabbeinu says as follows. The Torah starts, Vayasav Elokim es ha'am. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu took Am Yisrael in a roundabout way. Vayasav Yishom Sivuv, it's a turn. Vayasav Elokim es ha'am. They came out of Yam Suf, they said that they went in one way, then went to the other. They came back like half a circle. And the Egyptians, saw, and the Egyptians came to the conclusion that Am Yisrael didn't know what they're doing, and they chased them, and so forth and so on. But Vayasev, it comes from the root of Sivuv, which means a turn. But it also, on Pesach, when we eat the matzah, with the matzah and this, what do? We recline, right? We say in Manishtana that Alayla Hazeh, we eat it ben yoshvin and ben mesubin, sitting or reclining. So the word that is used to recline, which is the way that you used to eat in those days, is reclining. The Roman, it's a Shona Seva. So it comes, Lahasev is also to sit down to eat. It's called Shona Seva. People that come and they gather together to eat. So the pasuk was Vayasev Elokim Sa'am can be understood also. The Yosef, the language of Eloshan also means the eating. Well, but Hashem, at the end of the Torah, Rabbeinu will complete the entire cycle. And it says that you should know that through the achilos of Shel Yisrael, the eating of Am Yisrael, Nasa Yichud Kusha B'chul Shchinteh, it becomes the Yichud of Kodesh Baruch Hu and the Shechina, apin ba'apin, face to face. Mivchinas v'yom Boaz Rus, as Boaz said to Rus, La'esa Ochel K'shi Holon. At the time of the meal, come hither. Come here. So, La'esa Ochel, the time of the meal, which means dafka, we're talking about the process of eating. Boaz says to Rus, during eating, Goshi Holon, come hither. So the Zohar says, what is come hither? That's Yichud Kusha B'chul Shchinteh. This the Shechina and Kodesh Baruch Hu becoming one. Mivchinas v'iga shalav Yehuda, it says that Yehuda came close to Yosef. So the Zohar says that Ikrofta Malka b'Malka. That's the Shechina. That's two kings coming together. Yehuda is the root is the Malchus, because Yehuda is the Melech. Comes to Yosef. Yosef obviously is the Melech of Mitzrayim. They're coming together, Malchus b'Malchus. So we're talking about Yichud Kusha B'chul Shchinteh. We should explain a little bit here. However, the food has to be that food, it's a food after that food was already cleansed and purified, because a foodstuffs that is unpurified, is not cleansed, through such a food, such sustenance, a person can sin, can do averos. Yes, Rabbeinu says in Ois Aleph. So we can sort of like explain as follows. First of all, what we're talking about, the Rebbe uses Boaz and he uses Rus. It was at the time that the Shvot HaShoiftim, the time of Shavuos is going to come with Hashem. We're going to read Megillas Rus. The judge at the time, in Shvot HaShoiftim, as we say in Megillas Rus, the leader was Elimelech. Now Elimelech had a wife called Naomi, right? They had two children, Machlon and Kilian. Now, in Eretz Yisrael, there was famine. So Elimelech did the literally fatal mistake of going to Moab when there was food there. As a result, his children both married Moabites women. Machlon married Rus, and Kilian married Orpah. Now, when starting Megillah, when Elimelech died, the two sons died. So there were three widows. So Naomi is coming back to Eretz Yehuda. So Ruth decided she's going with her. No matter what, she decides that that's her fate. And she's called the mother of Malchus. She's the mother of, her grandson is David HaMelech. In fact, she lived, Baruch Hashem, so long, she was alive when David HaMelech was Melech. For many years, Baruch Hashem. She was to great longevity. Now, the Arizal explains that originally, Elimelech represented the Sfiras HaChochma, the letter Yud from Shem Havaya, who's a great person. Naomi, his wife, the Sfiras HaBina. That's the first Hey of Shem Havaya Baruch Hu. Now, Machlon was supposed to be the Vav. Rus is the Malchus. She is the last Hey. But Machlon and Kilian, botched it up. And Machlon was replaced with Boaz. So Boaz became the letter Vav Hashem Havaya Baruch Hu. Now, when we're talking about the spiritual structures that build all the illness, we're always talking about, the grandfather, the Kesser. Then we're talking about the level of Chochmah, which is father. Then we're talking about Bina, which is the mother. Then we're talking about the level of something which is called Ze'er Anpin. That's the 6 spheres from Chesed to the Yesod. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. These are the 6 spheres that constitute what they call Ze'er Anpin. Ze'er Anpin ends up in the sphere of the Yesod. That's the bris. That is the thing that is mashpia to the female, all the shefa. Chochmah Bina, this is the ethereal level of the mind, so forth and so on. In the mind, it has to trickle down through the various midos, and it's stored by the Yesod. When the Yesod gets together, when the Ze'er Anpin gets together with the Malchus, then the plenty shefa is being, given from the Yesod, through the Yesod to the Malchus. As a result, the Malchus grows and gives whatever it is that happens during the eating of Yichud. So Boaz represents the Ze'er Anpin. Also, his name is Boaz. There's strength in him. Oz is in him. He has the strength. This is the Yesod. Rus is the Malchus. So he's the one that is telling her, the time of eating, then there's a time for Yichud. This is when this can happen. So we need to understand what is this union of eating, what's the connection between eating and Yichud. Rabbeinu says afterwards that the food has to be food that is pure from any kind of impurities, because when the food is impure, then a person can sin. Now we know that Adam Rishon was in Gan Eden, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him a command, which supposedly the end of the command contradicts the beginning. He says, from all the trees of the garden, you should eat. You should surely eat. But from the tree of knowledge, good and bad, you shall not eat, because the day that you will eat from it, you shall surely die. But he starts the commandment saying, from all the trees of the garden. What does all mean? Including Esadas. From all the trees of the garden, you shall eat. But from the tree of knowledge, good and bad, you should not eat, because the day that you'll eat from it, you for sure should. So what goes on here? The answer is, the Chazal speak about the progression of the Bria as it took place during the 6th day, when Adam Rishon was created. Now, the length of the day is 12, your daytime is 12, temporal hours, now, so it says the first hour, this happened, the second hour, the man was created, and so forth and so on. And it says the man was actually created, in the 9th hour, man was created, 9th hour of the day. The 10th hour, he ate from the Eitzadas. The Nisayan it wasn't that Adam Rishon was told, you can never ever eat from this tree. That's not what Hashem told him. Right. He says, Beyom, in the day If you eat it during the day, then you should for surely die. But if you wait until night, when Shabbos comes in, you can eat from it. There's no problem. Otherwise, there's a machlokes in Chazal. What was the fruit of Eitz Hadas? Some Chazal says it was grapes. Some said it was wheat. Wheat. Yeah. The Goyim think about apple, but it wasn't either grapes or wheat. Grapes, meaning Shabbos would come in, grapes, you make Kiddush. Wheat, make Chalas, make a Moitzi. Adam Rishon would, if he would have waited until Shabbos came in. No, that's wrong. No. If Adam would only wait until Shabbos came in, Vakasha, go ahead. He would live forever. Everything will be fine. But he ate 2 hours too early. Beyond, and the day that you will eat from it, you should for surely die, but not the night. That was the answer. And I mean, I don't know that it's necessarily the teretz, but the thing is that you can say that had Adam Rishon figured, I don't know, maybe he knew, I don't know, if he had figured out that it is dafka during the day they cannot eat it, but when Shabbos comes in, you'll be able to eat it. He'll be able to, perhaps he would have been able to withstand the Nisayon, because it's a lot harder to withstand a temptation that will never end. So I might as well just give up. There's something that, okay, in a couple of hours, it's like in Kippur, you wait a couple of hours, you'll be able to eat. You should eat now, 2 hours before Kippur ends. So just wait a couple more hours. So maybe if Adam Rishon would have realized, he says that Kodesh Baruch Hu gave him a clue. In the day that you eat from it, for sure, and it means at night you can already eat from it. Maybe he would have been able, I don't know. Anyhow, but what happened was, Rashi explains that evil existed. You see that the snake, tempted him and him and Chava, but the evil existed outside of them. They had the choice to partake in it or not. When they ate from Chet Esadas Tovara, they have ingested bad into their being, which means now they are a mixture of good mixed with bad. For this, entire humanity has to die, because the process of living and doing whatever we're doing while we're alive is the process of separation between the good and the bad that became tzamisht and tzechish together by Adam Rishon when he ate from the tree of Eitz Hadas. So the thing that everything we do, all the Torah that we do, all the choices that we do, it's all in of birurim. It's sifting, it's purification. But the most blatant birur is being done by eating. That's the most powerful birur there is. The bread starts. When you make a moitzi, you hold the loaf with 10 fingers. The Mishnah Berurah says, why 10 fingers? This is the 10 mitzvahs, that the bread is to go through, to come to you. Which means while it's still in the field, the owner of the field has to leave a patch of the field for the poor people to come and eat and collect from it without any price. It's free. If a person doesn't leave payah to his field, the food that he eats is already mixed. The good, which is the field, with the part of the aniyim you stole from the aniyim. So it is already mixture. Afterwards, you have to give trumas and meisers and so forth and so on. Each one means you take that which isn't yours and you elevate it, and it keeps on coming up and up and up, and you purify it and purify it and purify it. And then, of course, when you finally grind it, you have to take off the chaff from the kernels, and you have to grind it, and then you have to bake it. And after you knead it, you have to take out challah from it. There's another step of the birur of the purification, and then ultimately, the final birur is when a person eats, makes a bracha, and he eats the food, he chews it. The chewing is also part of the digestion. That's why you have, 32 teeth originally. This is the 32 Nativ Nesivas Chochma. Very high things. Yeah, very, very high things. Is the 32 teeth. Lamed Bes Nativas Chochma. This is Sefer Yetzirah. It starts with the chewing and then when it's swallowed, obviously the body does the act of separation. It takes the nutrients and it brings it up. That gives life to the body, and the bad is discarded. It's been so this is the act of birur. Now, Rabbeinu here is explaining that a person can reach a level where his eating can become so exalted and so holy that his act of eating, which we have just explained, is an act of purification of the meichel, of the foodstuff, can cause a yichud kudsha b'chol shchintei. In other words, the bad is separated to such a degree that the good is so clean that you're consuming. That's as Rabbeinu will explain, that this is the thing that causes the ultimate. That's the hepech of what Adam Rishon did. Adam Rishon caused, the total separation by eating the food that he was not supposed to eat. So we're saying while we're eating, when we're consuming the food, a person is able to when a person is in a madrega, as Rabbeinu will explain how we actually do it, how we actually achieve it, a person can reach the level where that by eating alone, he is bringing the world closer to the tachlis of why the world was created. As one step towards Mashiach, just by eating. And much more so by everything else. That's why the eating of tzaddikim is a tremendously high thing. It's tremendous high avodah. So what we will do, being that today we'll start a little bit late, we will stop here next Thursday. You're welcome. Popcorn, Coke Zero, whatever. And what's your name? Chaim what? Willie? Willig. Wonderful. So I'm going to just stop the recording.